Hello, happiest of folks. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Today, one of the best you've ever had in your entire life for you folks. Alright, so we finished up my Let's Play of Evil Genius for about a half an hour, about 20 hours total, and that sort of a thing too, roughly. So I finished up that game on Let's Play number 20. Sort of a thing. It was a cult classic. It's one of my 100 favorite games. It's a James Bond inspired base builder. So I thought it would be fun for me to knock out another one of my top 100 games. It also takes about the same amount of time. I wouldn't be surprised if this is also 20 Let's Plays, 2 or a little fewer or a little more, and that sort of a thing too. It says it's between 12 and 16 hours if you just do the classic. You don't do that much of the stuff, and if you do about 29 hours, you can do it. So this is Star Control 2. It was released by Toys for Bob in 92, actually, so it's very long ago. So basically, here is all mouse, no mouse control input, that sort of thing too. It's all keyboard, so you just got to get back to using the keyboard. It's also they released it for free after they lost the rights to it. And that sort of a thing. And a bunch of fans put together a free version called the Ur-Quan Masters, so you don't have to spend any money but to enjoy this. I love the music, I love the characters, I love the sounds, I love the races here too. So let's take a look at this. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with the Ur-Quan Masters or Star Control 2. Let's get this started. So we'll get started with the video. Alright, welcome. So I'm going to save this game for you folks real fast. And so you move with the arrow keys, and so I'm going to move up. So this is Sol. You can see that our top is basically the Earth system. Hit the navigate button, and then you push up to navigate, and then you go like that or backwards. That sort of a thing too. And so you can't actually slow down. You're not speeding up because you're in space now, and you wouldn't speed up in space. So we're going to the third planet from the sun. Here we go. Here we are. Now you can see somebody's approaching us.
Attention, interloper. Heed this recorded message. This drone vessel speaks with the voice and authority of Urquan. You are trespassing within Urquan space. This world, Earth, may not be approached for any reason, nor will hostilities against our orbital platform be tolerated. In addition, your ship does not respond to standard hierarchy identification transmissions, and is therefore deemed to be independent. This is not permissible. Only subservience shall be tolerated. This drone now leaves to inform the Urquan of your transgressions. You are commanded to remain here and await the arrival of the Urquan. Disobedience will be punished.
Alright, now you can see a couple bad things here. First of all, you were just told that your homeworld is now in the hierarchy. You can also see it's got a side shield there too. I'll go ahead and show it to you just for purposes. Yep. I scan it, nothing can happen with this scan. I'm going to go over to here and talk to the station.
Attention, unidentified space vessel. I am Starbase Commander Hayes of the slave planet Earth. Our hyperwave broadcast is extremely weak. Situation critical. Energy cores exhausted. Scanners and deep radar are non-functional. We cannot identify your vessel. Are you the scheduled hierarchy resupply ship? Repeat. Are you the resupply vessel?
Alright, so I'm going to tell them that.
The starship what? Never mind, look, we won't last much longer. Here's our situation. According to our oath of fealty to the Urquan, we must maintain the starbase, but we have no space vessels of our own, and the shield prevents us from contacting Earth, so we're totally dependent on the Urquan supply vessels for everything we need up here. We know there's a hierarchy base on the surface of the moon, but we can't contact them. The Urquan were supposed to resupply the base at regular 5-year intervals, but we haven't received anything in almost 8 years. What we don't recycle, we can usually synthesize, but to do so we need replacement radioactives for our generator energy cores. If you could bring us some radioactive elements, we can fabricate the cores ourselves. Are you willing to help us?
So I need to go find out.
Thanks, I'll make sure to mention this the next time I talk with our masters. I'm sure they will reward you.
No, they won't. So now we're going to go to the navigate button. And now we're going to go to Mercury. And you'll note that when I turn north, I'm not heading north, I'll start that north on that one. Makes sense. We're heading Mercury. There we go, do a scan. Okay. Now, the radioactives, when I hit dispatch, I can choose where to go. And you can see over here are some good gold. The radioactives are here. Those yellow ones are good metals, and that sort of thing too. So I'll want to grab as much as possible while I'm here. I'm having my, so you move around on the lander. So this is kind of a dangerous place, and so you hit the escape button in order to hit away, and that sort of thing too. So So I'm just going to hit the escape button now in order to show you how it works. Now dispatching, and notice that my fuel has gone down each time I've done that. Just as a heads up. That's right. Yes, I lost 4 people that time. I'll do it one more time. Now I'm going to come over here, grab some of this stuff right here. Alright, lost anybody there. Good stuff. Alright, exit menu, hit the game, hit the save game. Navigate back. You'll note I lost a couple of days. Just says that does take time. This game has a built-in time limit, so you want to make sure. So we're going to go restore the starbase. The humans back here at Earth, but before, and now they are going to give us a lot of information. So this was written before people did a lot of that sort of writing things down and keeping logs for you in the game. So it's expected that you are going to keep good notes. Just heads up. Oops, looks like I misplaced right there. Yeah, right now I'm super slow.
Did you find any radioactive elements for our power cores?
I sure did.
We're initiating transfer of radioactives, Captain. Now, as soon as our engineers can refit the energy cores, that's much better. Power ratings are climbing. Life support is coming back into the green. Deep radar systems and sensors are now online, and I can scan your vessel. What the hell kind of ship is that? Just who are you, Captain?
I'm Captain Zolik of the Starship Enterprise.
Star Control science mission, huh? Captain, I served as a Star Control officer during the war aboard several cruisers in the Corward Front. And if there'd been any scientific mission to Vela, I would have heard about it. You know, come to think of it, there were some rumors that Corridor 9, the Special Operations Division of Star Control, was directing some hush-hush operation near Androsynth Space. The Vela star system, yes, that would be the right direction. So, Captain, if you say it's true, how do you explain that huge alien starship you're flying? And why are you here? What do you want from us?
If return to Earth to give you technology.
Fight the Urquan. Win back our freedom. I remember having such thoughts myself once, long time ago. That was in the first years after the defeat, when it was still terrifying to look up and see the bloody glow of the pulsating slave shield overhead. Though day and night we gazed up at the impenetrable wall, as though the sheer power of our hatred would pull it down. But over the years, I spent so much of my time struggling, down on the surface, under the shield, and then later up here trying to keep the station alive, that I'd forgotten what it means to be free, to hate our Ur-Quan Masters. And now here you are, in an alien ship of unknown power, offering me your assistance to fight against the hierarchy again after all these years. Captain, your offer is intriguing. It's tempting to think that with your advanced precursor technology, we can somehow crack the Earth's slave shield and reassemble the Alliance to attack the hierarchy. And this time, win the damn war. Consider the consequences if you should fail. The Urquan won't just punish us here on the station, they'll exact a gruesome retribution on the surface below as well. Before I commit this station to helping you attack the Urquan and accepting the risk of annihilation if we are defeated, I have to make sure that you and your ship have what it takes to oppose the hierarchy. I'll make you a deal. If you can eliminate the alien base on the moon and get rid of that threat at least, I will seriously consider your offer.
Alright, so we're going to go help out and neutralize the base on the planet.
Be careful, Captain. There are probably a dozen Spathia looters and Ilrath Avengers down there on the lunar surface. I don't know why they haven't come after you yet, but when they do, you'd better have your weapons armed and your thrusters burning hot.
Alright. Here we go. Alright, I am going to save the game here, just as a heads up. You are going to want to save the game every so often, because there are going to be, and there's going to be pretty soon, a surprise combat. So we're going to head down here into the Souls Moon. Do a scan. You'll note that there is some minerals here too, not that much. Energy scan and biological scans too. Alright, so I'm going to dispatch. your things. So what I'm going to do now is get the very, very boring base metals like lead and iron, that sort of a thing too. Which while I'm here, when you find something, as soon as you do it, it just assumes that's all you wanted to do, and then you'll leave the place. Makes sense? So this wrap around, you can see my one side of this. Alright, now I'll fold that up. I do have some more here, but we'll go ahead and talk to this person. Base is down within the Lord or MIDI broadcast. Alright, there we go. And now I pass on. Now you can see there is a little bit here, but it's probably not worth me giving. Just as a heads up. Let's exit and then hit the save again. Now we're gonna navigate that. I'm sorry, I should have returned it around.
Have you dealt with the base yet? I'll be darned. All these years we've been listening to their incoherent broadcast, and we never even guessed. Captain, listen closely. Long-range sensors show a ship closing on this station fast. Our computer identifies it as Ilrath, Avenger class. I think you've got a fight on your hands, Captain. Your best bet is to wait until you have point-blank range. Captain, it's jamming our signal.
So this Ilrath, and they're going to tell you this, they've been in.
Breath of the Dark Twin Kazan, a human and an alien starship. How fascinating. When I intercepted that Ur-Quan drone and learned that an unidentified starship had approached Earth, I never expected to find such a remarkable vehicle in the hands of a human. Humans are prey animals, weak and helpless. But here is a human in an armed starship, and therefore in direct violation of the oath of fealty. I am sure our masters, the Ur-Quan, will punish Earth most severely for this treachery when I present them with the twisted wreckage of your ship and your many charred corpses.
So I'm going to ask them, so I'm going to tell them, hey look, let's be simple. I'm going to ask the piece.
You must be either a naive child or a hopeless fool. In either case, it makes no difference, because soon you will be dead.
Alright, let's begin combat. I'm going to choose, I could choose this, but if it gets destroyed, then we'll lose. So I'm going to choose our escort, the human cruiser, for you folks. Now normally it would be, it blew me up. That's not good. Actually played this yesterday, but had to run
sight,
out.
Captain. I haven't seen an Avenger blown away like that since the battle in Draco. I guess you've shown that you can handle yourself in battle, Captain. So my last reservation about helping you has been dissolved. I will commit this station to helping free Earth and defeat the Ur-Quan. We may get our atoms rearranged in the process, but by God, Captain, we're going to try. So the obvious first step is to get the precursor equipment and software over here so...
I'm actually just going to reload it. I could do that, but we'll just play through it.
A sensible plan, Captain. Let's get to work. Good luck. By the way, Captain, I think we need a name for this new alliance we're going to forge. And since it was your idea, it's only fair that you get the honor of naming it. So, what will it be?
So the old one was the old alliance of 3 stars. And so I like the new alliance. It's what the people we're going to choose.
Very well. From this day forward, we're the Concordance of Alien Nations. Now, Captain, I expect the configuration process for the starbase to take at least 2 weeks, so let's get to work. I have good news to report, Captain. We have successfully integrated the precursor technology from your ship into our fabricator system, and as you can see, we've already begun minor repairs on your ship, patching up some of the micrometeorite holes. We noticed that your ship does not have an emergency warp escape unit, so our engineers rigged up some for you and each of your escorts. Now, you should be able to escape from a bad situation with the touch of a button. But there is a cost, however. The unit gulps up 5 fuel units each time your precursor ship uses it. Also, we now have a limited capacity to make modifications to your ship, to refine starship fuel, to build additional combat ships, and to train new members of your crew for the flagship and any ships you acquire for your fleet. Captain, I know you're eager to get to work, so I'll be brief. If you have any questions how this starbase works, what resources we need, or just some background information on the galaxy, don't hesitate to ask.
Alright, so Commander, I've got some minerals offload.
The more minerals you bring us, Captain, the faster we'll be able to tackle the Urquan.
Alright, before proceeding. Now, this next part, normally I would just skip because I've played this like 10 or 15 times. But for your purposes, I'm going to give you all
Certainly, Captain.
Again,
what do you need to know?
So we already know how to use this starbase. We're using that for
what aspect of history, Captain? Which group of aliens? Okay, which race? The Shofixti are a race of intelligent marsupials who had been civilized for only a few decades when the war began. They were discovered in the Delta Gorno star system by the Yehat, who adopted and then uplifted the Shofixti, giving them advanced technology and cultural definition. Shofixti are noble and fearless warriors, Captain. In addition, their incredible fecundity and rapid maturation rate kept Alliance ranks solid even at the worst part of the war. You know, I once flew as an observer aboard one of their ships on routine patrol. We never saw the enemy, but I could never stop thinking about the glory device it had strapped to the bottom of its hull.
Alright, so those are the... remember all the notes, right? And keep the notes. You can also find them on like Ultra, on like wikis and stuff. Just a
The Yehat are a race of ancient warrior clans that have been traveling the stars for many centuries. Clans are highly competitive and sometimes even wage war on each other, but the clans are all loyal to the Queen and her royal family, known as the Veepzeeps. The Veepzeeps have been in power for over 2,000 years, and it is said that during their rule, the Yehat never lost a battle. I'd like to think I'm not a bigoted person, Captain, especially when it comes to allies, but there's just something about those Arilu that gives me the creeps. One thing I'll say for them, though, they possess some technique for moving really fast through hyperspace. They never let us know what it was, but sure beats the pants off our fastest ships. Chenjesu were leaders of the Alliance, even though they refused to accept formally the title. I don't know if their silicon-based biology is just plain superior to our old carbon models, or if their fantastic intellect were the product of an ancient, peaceful culture. Whatever the reason, I'd rather be taking orders from a Chenjesu than any other life form, absolutely. One of the more amazing things about them was they never used hyperwave communicators. They could send messages naturally, and their natural hyperwave receptors were much more sensitive than even our best units.
Except the murmur.
We didn't really get much of a chance to learn about those mechanical beings, but I'll tell you what I know. They're the product of a distant, unknown culture who sent a giant factory ark into our region of space many centuries ago. The Mother Ark, that's what the Earth Press called it, churned out millions of robots and finally broke down. I don't know why the Murnaherm didn't repair the Mother Ark. Maybe they can't. My personal guess as to why they were sent here is that they're on the leading edge of a colonization project. And once the Myrnaharm have tamed enough new worlds, the genuine colonists, whoever they are, will arrive and claim their due.
Next up are the Siren.
Most raw recruits saw the Siren as nothing more than warm, breathing pin-ups. Warm they are, and yes, they do breathe most magnificently, but Captain, they are far more than simple joy units. The history shows the Siren established and maintained a peaceful culture from their Bronze Age through their discovery of starflight. Before their planet was destroyed in a horrible cataclysm, their world was an Eden.
Alright, so that's enough of the alliance.
What other group of aliens are you interested in?
Bad guys.
Which species?
We'll start with Urquan.
Our enemy is cunning, relentless, and possesses technology superior to all, but perhaps that found aboard your starship. The Urquan are born, live, and die for one purpose only: the subjugation of all other intelligent life in the galaxy. Why? I don't know. They'd probably have an easier time just destroying intelligence, but they're very careful not to use more force than is necessary to achieve their victim's submission. Sure like to know what made those wormy bastards as twisted as they are, and I'd like to know why they keep on the move, never stopping longer than it takes to enslave whomever they find.
Next up are the Mycons.
The Mycons are hard to get a handle on. In fact, I'm not sure any human has ever had a real conversation with a Mycon. What we know of them, we've learned from their corpses, which, I may add, have a nasty habit of coming back to life when thawed out from a decompression quick freeze. Mycon ships seem to expend a significant amount of energy on life support. This is probably because the Mycon only thrive in temperatures close to the melting point of lead. As far as we know, the Mycon are the only race to actively seek out the Urquan in order to become combat slaves.
Next up are the Spathy. My favorite. Oops, sorry, hit something. Sorry about that. Yo. Got a little longer, I did. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Imagine facing a cowardly, mobile clam armed with a howitzer, and you've got a good idea of what it's like dealing with the Spathy. Although they tend to avoid battles as much as their masters will allow, once in battle, a Spathy eluder is one tough cookie. I once heard a rumor, though I don't like to believe in it myself, that a rogue band of courageous Spathy broke away from the main Starfleet, painted their ships black with bright red stripes, and formed the Black Spathy Squadron, dedicated to performing brave and hostile deeds. Like I said, I'd have to see it to believe it.
Like that. Next are the Umga.
It's unfortunate that the Umga fell to the Urquan so early in the war, because I suspect we would have gotten along well with those big blob creatures. At the very least, it would have been entertaining. We know them a bit better than most races because they were eager to talk with our ships before, after, and during battle. The Arilu intimated that they had a relationship with the Umga before the Urquan arrived, but I don't know any details.
Next up are the Anderson.
When I was flying combat missions along the Corward front, there was nothing we feared more than the Androset hit-and-run squadron. Their blazer ships were more than a match for our cruisers, so we stayed clear of Ada Vulpeculae, their home star. In addition, I think each of us aboard the ship knew deep down in our hearts that the Androset had a damn good reason for hating us. Our grandparents had kept them as slaves for nearly 50 years.
Remember, Ada Vulpeculae, just like Delta Horn before the ship.
I still have nightmares about those spiders taking me prisoner, using me as one of their 6 sacrifices to Dogar and Kazon, their twin gods of destruction and torment. Those guys were almost as scary as the Anderson to those of us in Deep Space Patrol. Their Avenger ships could appear out of nowhere and melt a cruiser down to slag in seconds. Luckily for us, the bulk of the Ilrath fleet was thrown against the Genjesu and the Myrnaharm.
The Vux.
The Starship Far Voyager under the command of Captain Jeffrey L. Rand encountered the Vux near Beta Mira. Although the details are hazy, it's generally accepted that Rand offended the Vux starship commander with an inadvertent insult.
That's enough information about the hierarchy.
What other group of aliens are you interested in?
Are any other aliens?
None that we had made formal contact with. The Genjesu implied that they had met 2 other starfaring species, one near the Gickless constellation and the other directly corward from Procyon. The Arilu Lalile once mentioned having some fun with an alien race in Draconis, but like so much else with the Arilu, they never revealed the whole story. I'm sure there are hundreds more alien races in our galaxy, But beyond what I've told you, your guess is as good as mine.
All right. Jickless Constellation is going to be where one of your catalysts is going to come from, and the other one, core word of Procyon. Procyon is also going to be a key place you're going to go.
Would you like information on any other aspect of history?
Next, the war against the Hierarchy.
What about the war? Earth got involved late in the game in 2112 when the Chenjesu arrived in our solar system for the first time. So let's back up a few years to 2098 when the Chenjesu super-sensitive receivers detected a strange signal from the Ophiuchi constellation. Though even the Chenjesu didn't know it, it was the first sign of the Urquan's arrival. The Urquan, having detected the presence of many sentient species, were beaming out an exulting hunting cry. The first direct evidence of the Urquan's intent was the sudden conquest of the Umga, a solitary though not unfriendly species in the Orionis constellation. The Chenjesu, distraught by the invasion, were further angered when the Urquan turned their fleets on the hostile but weak Ilrath race. A hastily assembled defense force of Murnaherm and Chenjesu vessels turned the Urquan fleet aside, but the invader moved into Spathi space, rapidly subjugating that race. With each new conquest, the Urquan fleet grew larger as it added slave vessels to its ranks. Earth joined the Chenjesu to form the Alliance of Free Stars at about the same time as the Androsynth stars fell to the Urquan Armada. Before the ink was dry on our agreement with the Chenjesu in 2116, a new race appeared in orbit around the moon and asked for admittance to the Alliance. It was the Arilu Lalile. Timing seemed unusual, and the Arilu were definitely weird, looking like saucer men from Mars, but we were too busy cranking up our mothballed heavy industry that we really didn't pay it much attention at the time.
What happened during the war?
At the start of the war, here on Earth, we were working like crazy, churning out hundreds of heavy cruisers and smaller support vehicles. The Urquan were busy too. Unbeknownst to us, they had moved down towards the Luton Star Group and were attacking the Vux, who only the Yehat knew existed. Our botched first contact with the Vux took place in 2119, and it was the biggest single mistake we made during the war. After defeating the Vux, the Urquan fleets ran smack into the combined might of the Yehat and Shofixti, supported by the first wave of our cruisers. Again, the Urquan turned away from the hard spot to attack the weak, though we just thought they were running away. In fact, the Urquan had found another independent alien race, the Mycon, in the Brahi constellation. The Mycon's voluntary submission to the Urquan brought the return of the Urquan fleets, now swollen with 100 devastating Mycon pod ships. The last entrants to the conflict were the Cyrene, a race of space gypsies who had escaped the hierarchy by moving their vast fleet of slow-moving habitats into human space. With the side set, the last Urquan offensive began.
Next, how did the war end?
The Urquan came roaring through Vux space and tried to push past the India and Mira star systems. Their onslaught was barely repulsed, and our counterattack made hardly a dent on the hierarchy forces, but we held the line. The coreward front remained intact. Over the following 10 years, there were many great battles between the combined Alliance Starfleet and the Urquan and their hierarchy of Battle Thrulls. Then in 2134, a dramatic shift in the balance of power took place. This must have been about the time the science research mission was sent to the planet of Vela. Our fleets were pushed back from the Indy-Mira line beyond Raynet. Holding Reiche caused grievously in Chenjesu forces, and the Urquan, recognizing this weakness, shifted to focus the brunt of their forces on Procyon. That was the last we heard from the Chenjesu and the Murnaherm. A few weeks later, waves of ships hit us from all directions. When Ceres Station, our outpost on the asteroid belt, fell to the hierarchy, we knew we were beaten, but we fought on anyway. 3 days later, the Urquan vaporized our last remaining laser forts on the moon, and the dreadnoughts took up geosynchronous position above Rome, Moscow, Beijing, Tokyo, London, Buenos Aires, and Washington. We'd lost the war, and we knew it. But the Urquan decided to make it real clear. And that's why if you check any of our most recent maps, you won't find Buenos Aires.
Except what happened after?
After the UN submitted their formal surrender, we were given a week to decide the nature of our servitude. The Urquan demanded that the decision be made through popular vote. When all the votes were tallied, Earth had chosen not to fight for the Urquan. We had become a fallow slave world. We were given a month to withdraw all of our people and equipment to Earth. anyone or anything left off-planet would be destroyed after the shield went up. Then the Urquan broadcast an odd message. All objects of human construction more than 500 years old were to be abandoned. We didn't know what the Urquan meant until they moved their dreadnoughts into new orbital positions and opened fire on the surface with their fusion weapons. In seconds, large sections of London, Paris, and other European cities were incinerated. At first, we thought they were going to annihilate us after all. And we noticed they were also striking such targets as the Giza Pyramids, the Parthenon in Athens, and Stonehenge. Curiously, the United States was almost untouched. The flaming rain lasted 40 hellish hours. It took days after we crawled from our smoldering shelters to realize what the Urquan had done. Our new masters had targeted every building, monument, or other man-made construction older than 500 years and destroyed it. In those 2 days, we lost most of the history of mankind. In some cases, the Urquan destroyed places we did not even suspect were significant. From their positions in orbit, the dreadnoughts blew away a kilometer of land in central Iraq, vaporized several targets in the Amazon rainforest, punched a big hole through the Antarctic ice cap to destroy something deep under the surface, and melted a broad swath of the ocean floor in the southeastern Atlantic. Then, just a couple of days later, the shield went up, and our contact with the outside world stopped. The next time I saw the stars was 8 years ago, when I was transferred up here to be the new commander of this starbase.
Thanks, Commander, for the brief.
Would you like any information on any other aspect of history?
All right. Nope, I just want to more history. Thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
All right.
Fine. Is there anything else you need?
Now let's go.
Bring back lots of minerals, Captain.
Next thing we're going to do is, before outfitting my ship, we're going to depart the starbase here. And then we are going to start to strip mine this system. Now, obviously, we can't go to Venus because it's too hot for its stuff. So we're going to head to Mars next. Mars won't have anything valuable. While I'm here in the system, I'm just going to grab about everything, go back and sell, and then I'll update my ship. And then we're going to go to Pluto, because there's going to be something. A surprise in Pluto. Like the moon, I'm not going to go back after one, because that's just stuff's not that valuable. But we got anything we got to take into account. Now we're going to go to Jupiter and then Uranus and Neptune. There's just some good stuff on Jupiter. Now remember, because they're gas giants, we can't mine gas giants, but we can mine their moons. So here we're on Saturn first. This is Titan. Again, this won't be that valuable stuff, and it probably won't be worth that much. But again, while I'm here, right? Normally, you would not want to do this. You wouldn't want to typically strip the planet this much. Yeah, I lost a lot of crew there. So we're just going to pop down here. Because this actually does have a lot of good stuff in terms of lots of numbers. And then if the planer dies, we'll have to get another one, which is 500 credits. So you do not want to do that. I could grab over there. Yeah. We'll navigate. Actually, let's sit here real quick. Next up is Jupiter. Actually, I think it's right here. It is. Jupiter's got 4 minutes. All good stuff. Well, I think one was kind of crappy, but you can do it. Sorry. Now we're just going to pop over to here, to the solar system. This is the third moon. This is Ganymede, obviously. Ganymede is pretty much nothing. But I'll come down here anyway, because since I'm here. Again, normally you would not want to waste the fuel or the time. But they're actually pretty big nodes, actually. It's pretty good. This is noble gases. There's pretty much nothing here. 3 on. Now we're going to go ahead. Back over to here. Next up, we're going to scan Callisto. Sorry about that. I sketched past it. Right about that. Let's scan. No minerals here. Sorry, Callisto. So next up is the second moon of Jupiter for you folks. This one has a lot of better stuff. This is Europa. As you can see, it's got a lot of those good. Now you can see here, it actually has 2 good things. These ones down here, you can now, if for colorblind people, they may notice something different. These ones down here are very valuable radioactives, but these up here are iodines. So we're going to get the radioactives first, and then we're going to head up to the others. Second. So those radioactives are pretty valuable. $15 each. Then while I'm here, I've already got the others. Now we'll just grab some of these noble gases, or in this case, bromine, and whichever one this one is really quickly. Let's go to 2. We're going to go ahead and escape. And then we're going to go to navigate. And we're going to go to the first one, island. It is volcanic. So it is actually kind of dangerous, kind of like you can see the tectonics there, class 4. Alright, so this has got a lot of good stuff. So we're going to spend some time here until we go mine them all. And I keep my finger right there. Here. No, we're just gonna strip mine. With all the earthquakes. Now we'll do it again. See how typically somewhere near there, not always that great. Okay, now let's leave us Jupiter. System behind, it will go to Uranus, Neptune, and then the surprise on Pluto. Before heading back to Earth. For the signals. Sorry about that. Here we go, Neptune. I don't think it's got anything good, but again, we're here, so I might as well knock it out. strike. Not much. So I'm gonna go ahead and dispatch. Here. Now we're just gonna finish strip mining this out. I don't think Uranus has any meter too. I'm not even sure Uranus has a moon actually, now that I think about it. Here. No, we got those are nimble gases, they're not gonna be worth much. Arsenic. Yeah, potassium. Not that much stuff. Now we're going to head to Uranus real fast. I'm not sure Uranus actually I think Uranus is there. If I remember correctly. Yeah, it is. Good, I actually missed that like I was intending to. Like a trooper. Missed it. You do not want to go out in the spaceship without having an equipped ship, so I know there's nothing in here. This sounds great. Now Pluto. So we're going to save this and then Pluto. Get a bunch of exposition. So next up, we're going to meet somebody. Right up, off now blocks. Those purple ones are good stuff. Those are actually the most valuable. It's like antimatter, so these two snow crystals in this case. They're worth 195 each. I'll go here first. Here we go. More background information. It's not happening. So we're being attacked by this ship. And now we're launching.
Attention, a big, mean, hostile alien vessel hovering overhead in an obvious attack posture. This is Spotty Captain Whistle. I know you are going to torture me, so let's just get this over with right now. The coordinates of my homeworld, Spatiwa, are 241.6 by 368.7, and the ultra-secret Spotty Cipher, which is known only by me and several billion other Spotty, is Huffy Muffy Duffy. Sorry about that little mistake with your landing vehicle. I was so startled when it approached my vessel in a threatening manner that my automated defense systems fired on it when it got too close. I hope nobody got hurt.
So I'm going to say, hey, we come in peace. Remember, Huffy Guffy Nuffy and the coordinates.
Are you sure? Because your statement is often just a more polite way of saying, attention alien vessel, identify yourself or be destroyed. In any event, I am Spotty Captain Rico of the void ship Star Runner, placed here in this planetary system as part of the powerful Earth-powered Star Force, which our master, the Ur-Quan, established here to make sure the Earthlings don't do anything tricky. About 20 years ago, this region of space was dominated by a loose confederation known as the Alliance of Free Stars, which was composed of the aliens native to these parts who did not want to be enslaved. they made a valiant effort against the superior Ur-Quan forces. It even looked like they might miraculously defeat the combined Ur-Quan armada, right up to the point at which the Ur-Quan totally defeated, indeed annihilated them.
Okay, so what are you doing?
When the Ur-Quan armada entered the system to subjugate formerly the Earthlings, the Ur-Quan presented the humans with the standard slave options. Join the hierarchy as combat thralls and retain some autonomy, including the right to travel through space, or become a fellow species and return to free atomic savagery on the surface of their homeworld, encased for all time beneath an impenetrable force shield. The humans chose the latter option, and so were swiftly imprisoned on the surface of Earth. But the Urquan didn't trust them to obey the restrictions, so they chose a small group of hierarchy combat starships from the Inlet and Spartan fleets to create the so-called Earth Guard and station them at a base on Earth's moon.
Tell me, what are you doing?
Originally, we were stationed on Earth's moon, which made us Spatty a bit uneasy because with each passing day we grew more and more worried about the sneaky Earthlings making a surprise attack. Though the Illrat kept telling us that it was impossible since the Earthlings had no ships or weapons whatsoever. That made us feel a bit better, but when the Illrat left, again we grew fearful and decided to make a strategic redeployment to Mars. Later on we decided it would be prudent to relocate to Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, then later Saturn's moon, Titan, and finally here to Pluto.
So what happened to the Illrat station?
The Illrat contingent were supposed to be the toughest ridge crest, the most rigid flipper, yes, the backbone of the Earth Guard force. But they departed the system en masse not long after the last Urquan dreadnought vanished from this region of space. They claimed to have received a direct order from their gods of evil and darkness, who had grown dissatisfied with the Illrat's passivity and wanted them to kill, or at least torture someone soon. Personally, I believe they just got bored and went off to have some fun.
That definitely sounds like the Illrat.
Well, when they were pushing up into hyperspace 18 years ago, we asked them that very question, and I think they said something to the effect of, "Real soon." We decided that if the Earthlings figured out we had abandoned the base on Luna, they would be more likely to try something sneaky. So, we rigged up some old service androids and ordered them to drive around on the lunar surface in bulldozers, endlessly pushing around the same piles of dirt. In addition, we connected the base's local radio transmitter to an audio malnorme fun rum called Winky's Happy Night, hoping they would think we were still there.
Yeah, because it was a bait. What happened to the others, Pat?
Over the past years, it became necessary to redeploy strategically some of our Earth Guard forces to our homeworld in case of a sudden surprise attack by a vicious, unrelenting alien race which we Spotty call the Ultimate Evil! Dozens, that is to say scores and perhaps even hundreds of my brethren stride through the corridors of this specially modified, super-efficient, mass-destruction-oriented starship, which could lay siege to an entire planetary system should we choose to do so, which, fortunately for you, we have decided not to do today.
Next up are hundreds.
I am undone. You are far too clever for a poor spotty like me, and now I must submit to your superior alien intellect. I guess I am not revealing any truly important secrets if I tell you that each of my species' lunar-class void ships typically holds 30 spotty crewmen, though at present my vessel, the Star Runner, is not up to full complement due to the needs of my homeworld in their resistance against the Ultimate Evil. And in fact, my vessel is somewhat understaffed right now, seeing as how I am the only spotter on board, which is a bit frightening, as I am sure you can understand.
Alright, the galaxy teems with threatening monsters. Are you happy here?
How true, Captain, how true! In truth, just between us, during the past 7 years, I have been quite ill at ease, and yet now I find myself enjoying your company. this witty dialogue and the presence of your huge, powerful, death-dealing starship, which, being my friend, you would certainly feel compelled to use in order to save me from any hostile life forms who threatened me with death.
Joshua, what is this
And
one?
yet, the ultimate evil remains largely unmanifest, and its powers and exact intentions are still a bit obscure, since it lurks just outside the range of even the most sensitive long-range detectors, which we feel gives conclusive evidence as to the ultimate evil's nefarious intent.
Why are you still here?
Since it was our most powerful and unforgiving masters, the Ur-Quan, who stationed us here, we knew it would be grossly stupid to disobey them completely, but we decided it would be okay to send just one ship home. We used one of our most ancient and solemn rituals, Ur-Quan, to pick the lucky ship. Then, some months later, we decided that it wouldn't really hurt if we sent one more ship home. And then later we sent another, and then another. Well, you get the idea. Alas, as fate would have it, when the final ritual was performed, I, Barretto, was left here alone. For as even the most immature in wrestling knows, there must always be one spotter who puts the short top on stick.
What? Where are the
Our masters don't really keep us very well informed about their goings-on, so that all we know is that immediately after the subjugation of the last Alliance race, the Hut, I think, the Urquan gathered their dreadnoughts and departed for the edge of the galaxy, commanding us to obey the slave laws or face their wrath when they returned.
Do you know anything about other alien races?
We only know bits and pieces of what happened to each race. For instance, when defeated, the Yahat joined the hierarchy as combat thralls, while the Cyrene chose to be slave-shielded on a planet in the Bug Squirt star system. No, that's not right. I forget its name. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the Shafixti. They were utterly wiped out in a gigantic blaze of glory.
So you got two big pieces of information. One, the Yahats are now the bad guys. They now joined the combat thralls. They were your key and allies that had never lost a battle. And then the next one is that they are the Cyrene are on Bug Squirt resolved the BDGs.
The Shofixti were half feral, as you know, having been uplifted by the Yahat just a few decades before the start of the war. Given their habit of detonating those suicidal so-called glory devices in combat, it came as no particular surprise to me when, upon the arrival of the Ur-Quan Primary Task Force at their homeworld, the Shofixti caused their sun to explode in a colossal supernova, destroying the entire planetary system, and not incidentally dozens of Urquan dreadnoughts.
What about yourself, Freefo?
You mean me, personally? Nice of you to ask. I was born a poor green incrusting, the youngest child of a family of 18,487. My male parents had to work hard to support us, very hard. But each of my brothers and sisters and I tried to help out to make ends meet. The female parent was kind and sweet to all of us. Why, she once even called me by name. She said, what a treat, a golden memory. I swiftly matured into a fine example of my species with my parents' assistance. Achieved independence. Specifically, they pried me from the door jamb and rolled me into the street. Thus prepared, I set out to make my fortune. I had great dreams in those days. Yes, great dreams. I knew that someday I would be vastly rich, wealthy enough to afford a large, well-fortified mansion. Surrounding my mansion would be vast tracts of land, through which I could slide at any time I wished. Of course, one can never be too sure that there aren't monsters hiding just behind the next bush, so I would plant trees to climb at regular, easy-to-reach intervals. And being a spotty of the world, I would know that some monsters climb trees, though often not well, so I would have my servants place in each tree a basket of correct stones. Not too heavy, not too light, just the right size for throwing at monsters. I was thinking about what color the stones would be painted. I aqua, mauve, or magenta when a vegetable cart came careening down the street outside my house, and it knocked me unconscious. When I awoke, I was aboard the void ship Star Runner headed for Earth. Apparently, I had been out of my head for quite some time after the accident, and with the assistance of some kind strangers, had been relieved of my funds and convinced to join the Navy, where I have been unpleasantly employed for the last 25 years.
Alright, I'm sure you feel a lot safer if you're with us. Come on.
Happy days and jubilation! I discard all prejudice and hesitation and accept and celebrate your offer of protection and your undying commitment to my well-being. I must wax melancholy for just a moment though, and make sure you understand that any other spaceships we meet at large in the galaxy are not going to be quite so responsive to your friendly gestures as myself, since they bear more heavily the yoke of Urquan enslavement and are also apt to talk themselves out of allying with a totally unknown alien, which I, having been left here alone, cannot do. Welcome me aboard, Captain.
Alright. Here we go. I'm going to save the game. Now we're going to navigate back, sell our stuff, and then upload my base. Upload my ship and get ready to do some mining and that sort of a thing. And now we're going to become a mine ship. Right here. Station, offload all these elements, and then fix my stuff. Get ready for the next adventure. Starbase Commander.
I'm at your disposal, Captain.
My minerals.
Not a bad job, Captain.
265.
Goodbye, Captain.
Let me show you how this works. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is outfit the starship. So we're going to start with modules. Consider things. Here's the ship. Here's the fraud. That's where the guns are. Iron bolt guns. You can also put weapons here that fire triangulate, diagonally, and into the back. Got a storage bay for us to get all the tanks all full with, and then crew pod too. The crew pod's pretty pricey. So I'm going to get a second crew pod. And then another storage bay, and another fuel tank. Then we're going to fill up that stuff with fuel furnished right here. Now you can see, I want to show you something. A module with turning jets or speed are about 500 each, and a spaffy and another turning just 5 each. So we do not want to have that stuff get brought down. So we're not going to have a whole lot of fuel for that, just as a heads up. Looks like I ran out of fuel money, so I'm going to, Get to 110. You can see fuel's pretty pricey. Now go back to exit this menu, go to the shipyard. Here is where I can buy new ships. So you can see here, I could get another Earthling cruiser at 1100, which I really don't think I should work. But what I'm going to do instead is upload this crew in the Spaffy ship for you folks. And I myself too. I'm thinking I'll probably just do 100. One less crew pod. The problem is that the crew, as you can see, you blow through crew pretty quickly, even just in mining, that sort of thing too. Alright, so I'll fit that off screen. I think I might also reload the save, because I had saved it but no noise, and that sort of thing too. with the Earthlink ship. And then whatever money I have left, I'll buy it. I think I can get half enough money to get one of these. And that's what I do. Alrighty, so there you go for you, folks. I appreciate that so very, very much for you folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Next time we're going to start with the mining. They recommend that you do a few months, maybe look at the advice and everything too. So we're gonna do that all for you folks. I hope you enjoyed that lots. And so if you like that, and you wanted to see more of this, then do all the YouTube stuff, like hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon, all that stuff too. I hope you enjoyed that a lot. And then finally, I just want to thank you so very, very much for just taking some time out of your day and investing it, right? And watching my videos. Because we all have so many things, right, happening in our lives. We're pulled in so many different directions too, right? So like you take this time with me, that's incredibly humbling. And I appreciate that so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.